So do you know what this company actually produced?
Okay, Byron, I think here's another chance for bingo question. So commencing, now you hear back the sound and number 20.
Hello and welcome to Innovator Chat, a new series under TTG Conversations where we sit down with industry members who have found creative solutions to fight against the tide of COVID-19. I'm Pamela Chow, and today we will be speaking with TY Suen, founder and CEO of Wupa Travels, and Byron Koh, founder of Lion Heartlanders and TY's business partner. Hello TY and Byron, thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
So Wupa Travels is the parent company of Monster Day Tours, and they are one of Singapore's pioneering walking tour operators. But when the pandemic locked us up indoors during Singapore's circuit breaker period last year, Monster Day Tours took the concept of virtual tours to the next level. They introduced virtual bingo tours, which has now evolved to include even a Kyoto itinerary. They have since launched also physical tours of Singapore River, Sentosa Island, and the Southern Islands. And these innovations were somewhat of a saving grace for Byron here. For him, joining hands with Monster Day Tours meant collaborating with a competitor. So today, we are going to dive behind the scenes with TY and Byron to see what innovations and risks prove to be critical for their survival. So TY Byron, first of all, can you please describe for our viewers what this virtual bingo tour concept is?
Yep, so for our virtual tours, it's really a live virtual tour, a little bit different from what many people might think before the pandemic itself. A lot of people would look at virtual tour. Is it something with VR? Is it something with AR? Is it just a recorded videos? And they are not wrong into thinking that, because before the pandemic, there was obviously the idea, the concept of virtual tour was not there. But what we did as tour operators was we basically bring the physical element of the tour and bringing it online. So when we say live virtual tour, we are actually having a guide that's doing the tour live for you while you're at the comfort of your home, of your office, or really literally anywhere in the world, as long as you have a internet connection. Yeah. So this virtual tour has really helped us a lot into trying to allow people to still explore different places around the world. Of course, we started with Singapore first, like all those venues that you mentioned during your introduction. And then subsequently, we expand to more exclusive behind-the-scenes venues, and thereafter, even to overseas destination. Yeah, and I think you spoke about the bingo format.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that bingo format was where we really thought, when we do tours for people are going to say it's going to be boring, just sitting in front of in front of Zoom, in front of a video call, and watching a guide just going all around. And we thought that one element that must be there, it has to have a game element. Yeah, and it just happens that before we actually designed this concept, I was doing another virtual event with another like events company, and they actually introduced like something like bingo or different gamification. So we thought that, hey, what if we can actually bring a bit of this format or a bit of this concept, but we tweak it in order to fit the tour itself. Yeah, and then that allows participants during the live virtual tour to interact with our guide and our host. That would be amazing. Yeah, so how people are always curious, they want to participate, they want to be part of it, and they do want to get something out of the tour. Yeah, so not only about getting new knowledge, but at the same time, if they can win prizes out of this bingo format, that'll be fun. Yeah, so definitely, right, because there's like an element of fun. Like for example, if you pay a ticket like $10 or $15, but if you are really active and participative enough during the whole tour, we really reward you for being participative in that sense, right? Because you try to get all the right answers, and thereafter you can actually win a prize that's actually more than your ticket price. Yeah, and by doing this, how we do it is also obviously these prizes also involve things to like either involve outdoor activities or other experiences. So this actually continues to allow the participants to continue exploring, basically. So even after virtual tour, they can say, for example, if they win a prize about like a workshop a tea workshop, they can then actually use the voucher, go out there to participate in a tea workshop, and then they can continue to explore. So that's how we are working things out, like as part of this format, as part of the whole virtual experience.
So what is the process like getting all of these partners on board to for these prizes?
I think we are quite lucky, before the pandemic, we already are working with partners, from F&B, from retail sectors, from pristine partners. They already have a lot of all this, their product and services. So when I introduced the concept of virtual tours to them and getting them on board, of course, one is content creation. They are really interested to find new ways during the pandemic. How do we actually let more people know about our product and services right now that a lot of people can't physically visit them? So ours become a channel for them to do it. Then secondly is obviously they are also interested then to let people then, hey, no problem, we are happy to let your audience to try, because a lot of times our partners, they actually target a similar demographics, same as us. So when we do that, we kind of like work with our partners to share our own customer database. We get the same customers coming for the same tours, experiences, event over and over again. And that actually was very helpful to our partners. So I wouldn't say it was hard. It was more like reaching out to them, and they really needed to understand how the whole process worked. But right now we are obviously trying to reach out to potential partners who are then obviously doesn't know of us yet. And then that's where we actually pitch from, what we have already done, sharing with them, and then exploring new ideas to say, okay, how other formats or how other ways we can work with.
So now you have already expanded to include Kyoto, and you've also marketed to corporate and school groups. So can you tell us more about how this Kyoto tour works?
So the Kyoto tour was simply an element of, audience, our customers came back to us and then say, hey, TY, we have already done tours that are local. Now we want to explore somewhere different. So somewhere different, and they all have that desire to actually explore overseas. Now they cannot travel. So basically we came out with the idea of how about we do overseas destination. And what we do was we look for similar partners that are overseas, and then we actually kind of engage them. We ask them, hey guys, we are actually running virtual tours right now, and what we need to feature obviously is from overseas as well. So some of these people obviously come from, they do their own things on Airbnb experiences, for example. We kind of tried their experience, we love it, we think that they can work together with us, and then we just come together to actually curate and build this whole experience together. So other than Kyoto, Japan, we hope to come out with really more destination, and you should see some of them coming out really soon in the next few months.
Okay. Very exciting.
Definitely. And the part about the schools and corporate, obviously that I will leave it to Byron later to explain a bit more.
Okay.
Because that's also part of the very reason why we came together, in order to have our product and what we do to spread a lot more to other people that is in Singapore and overseas as well.
Okay, I will come around back to Byron so that he can explain more to us. And I'm very interested to find out more. So, before COVID, you had a lot of experience with international groups, but now with the domestic crowd, how different is it? How different are their demands, what they like and don't like? What extra effort did you have to put in?
I think the main challenge at the start was, why would people explore their own backyards? Or like they will feel, all of us will feel like, hey, we know our countries really, really well. There's just no point in a tour operator bringing you around, because if you can do it, I can probably do it on my own. So the main, and I do agree with that statement, because if you want to explore a certain public place right now, it's very easy to go down there and then really do a Google search, learning about all this. The catch is then though, if there's no certain structure. So where tour operators come is we put together a storyline and a certain structure in order for you to better absorb and enjoy this content. I think this is where we come in. And once an audience or participants is aware of this and they go for our tours, they actually pretty much enjoy it as if it's like an overseas guests, because people just don't know what they don't know. Yeah. So once they join, they will still be like, hey, I didn't know, I'm a Singaporean, but actually I seems to be like a foreigner because I also don't know about this. Yeah. So really the main challenge was wanting to get people to at least take the first step to try. And where we come in for Monster Day Tour, right, is that we want to make it as affordable and as accessible for many people to just come and take that very first step. Yeah, then from then on, whether they like it or they don't like it, they can decide. Right? For those who love it, they'll go on to even more sophisticated experiences. For those who probably don't, at least we already gotten them to understand about it, and then they might still spread the words to others who might be willing to try it. So that's what we are doing right now.
I see. So it's all about kind of getting the first step, the first foot in the door.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So now it's time, I want to shift to Byron. Coming from your own company, Lion Heartlanders, can you share your decision for teaming up with TY and Monster Day Tours? How did you two spark off the discussions?
Yeah, so really nice speaking with you, Pamela. And I think whatever that TY was describing about the whole current situation and how we've innovated, I think it's really spot on. What happened between myself and TY is actually before the pandemic, we were already speaking about, is there anything that we can do together? Yes, we are both tour operators. I mean, there's a potential, element of competition between us. But the truth is that Lion Heartlanders was always set up to address the local audience, right? And I was always really interested in educational tours. Yeah, and Monster Day Tours originally was always about how can we make it the most fun day for tourists. Yeah, but what doesn't change is the products. Like one single tour can be used to address both markets. Yeah, and I mean there may be certain tweaks that need to be made, just to cater for a different audience, but it can essentially be the same tour. So we were already speaking pre-COVID about how can we come up with products together and then market it together and use it for a wider range of audience. I think that was what really sparked off us deciding to work together.
So there was already an element of being open and flexible to changes to each of your itineraries, even before the pandemic.
Yeah. And one other thing was I really like how Monster Day Tours at that point in time had a very strong team of guides. Yeah, and a very lively team of guides. Really love working with them. And I myself am a tour guide. So I went to guide for Monster Day Tours as well. I really enjoyed working with them. Yeah, I think that was one thing that really drew me to the whole culture of how Monster Day Tours is as a company. Now you can see literally all the guides really enjoy their work. Yeah, and I think what TY saw from my end is that I love creating tours and activities, and I like incorporating some sort of activities in the tours. Yeah, and this really brings the tour to the next level. So I think this is where we could really come together. There was some synergy there.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you share a bit more about how that has worked for, we were talking about the corporate and school groups?
Yep. Yeah, so Lion Heartlanders, like I said, was always educational tour. So we were looking, our target market has always been primary schools, secondary schools. We were doing learning journeys. And in terms of corporate groups, I would say for Lion Heartlanders, it was always still more government corporate, means government agencies wanting to do their team building, wanting to do their learning days and things like that. Yeah, so that was the space that we were in. But the problem is that some of these jobs are huge. And when I first started Lion Heartlanders, it was just me, one person running the company. Yeah, and I couldn't manage that kind of 400 packs kind of an event, right? And I always needed help from TY. And I said, hey TY, you have an awesome team over there. Lend me your guides. Yeah, lend me your people. And then from there, we really started to build that relationship. And now, when we go to corporates, it's always like, okay, if a corporate group is interested in something more fun, something more touristy in a sense, then yes, that will be done under Monster Day Tours. But if they're interested in something more educational, then Lion Heartlanders will be the space to do it.
Can you maybe share some examples of these activities that make these tours a lot more engaging for your participants?
Yeah, so I guess one of the main clients over here is MOE, right? So we have our young students, especially in the primary schools, that they used to do learning journeys going out. And I guess what happens in most learning journeys is that there'll be a guide. They'll bring the students around, tell them stories about what they're seeing. But what I really like to do is always say, can we get them to experience something? So if I bring them to Little India, for example, can I literally make them, wear a traditional costume? Like if they visit the wet market, can we get them hands-on, touch the raw food, or maybe buy something small like spices for them, so that they can smell and they can get hands-on. So these are the small little things that we do. And right now, during this period, right, like we can't really bring the students out to the different districts, so we've brought the districts into their classroom. Yeah, so we bring things like their own fun pack. We bring things like traditional costumes, traditional games, spice packets. Everything we bring into their classroom, and we just do it in class for them. Yeah.
You're talking about working together with the bigger team that TY has at Monster Day Tours. So can you share, a little bit about how you yourself adapted to their style and their products, and how both of you, adapted to each other's styles?
Now, the one thing that I would say that I had to adapt to was having to, because now our audience is more of a local audience. Yeah, and the walking tours that were done under Monster Day Tours were always focused with tourists. Yeah, so me coming in and also helping to see how can we tweak these tours with the local knowledge that I have, to make it more suitable for locals. And we've really done that. I feel like we've really refreshed some of these walking tours and made it really suitable for locals. Like I think locals coming on these tours would really find it very, very insightful. Yeah, and they won't feel like I'm really just a tourist, but I'm a local as a tourist. Like there's a huge difference over there. Yeah, so I guess the main thing that I was adapting to was, hey, can we refresh some of these walking tours to make it more suitable for the locals. So that was the main thing. In terms of culture, not too much. I think we have a lot of fun working together actually.
Okay, that's really great. So it sounds like actually you had a very strong synergy already, and that's very important for business partnerships. Right?
Yeah, I think we took some time to really feel each other out, not physically, but
I hope not in a business sense.
Yeah. Really feel each other out, right? Like, I mean, ultimately, I will look at TY and I'll be like, hey, can I trust this guy? Or, he will look at me and, this Byron, is he, trying to poach all my people eventually? Yeah. So obviously we took some time to build that trust, and we decided that we really wanted to work together. I think that really turned out well. Yeah.
So, business partnerships like yours, this is a really strong example of how competitors can work together, to survive and to innovate, especially in these times. So from the both of you, what personal words of wisdom do you have for other companies who might be in the same position, struggling and considering other means?
Yeah, so a few people have asked me this question, how are you doing during this period? And, some people that know that we are actually, doing okay. Yeah, we've actually managed to survive through the whole of last year. I would say the one thing that was really important was, to be really familiar with the kind of support that's out there. What kind of government support is out there, and who else can we work with in terms of the different partners, just really be open, just be open to exploring. And when I say be open, I'm also talking about from the technology aspect. Yeah, like we've always done things physically. Like, can we really explore doing something virtually? And to be honest, I was hesitant. Yeah, I was really hesitant about virtual experiences and virtual tours. Yeah, but TY, brought me onto some of these really interesting virtual experiences, and I was sold from there. Yeah, so I would say be open and be willing to experiment. Yeah, that's what I would say. TY, you?
Yeah, I would have a similar advice as Byron, right? Like what you just shared. I think the challenge is always the obstacle of being really transparent, upfront, and honest. Like you have to be first able to be willing to accept their partners that's coming through, especially if they come from the same industry or it's actually a competitor by nature. You really have to take the step and then say, okay, let's see what we can do together. And obviously, any similarities that we have to try to make sure we reconcile. Any differences we have to at least try to reconcile these differences and make it work. Yeah, I think that is where it's very important for any potential business partner who wants to come together to consider. And if let's say things doesn't work out, don't stay on like that, making the things come to like even worse. I think at the very early stage, me and Byron really talk about a lot of issues. Like we were very upfront and we say, hey, this is an issue, right? Are you willing to compromise on this? Do you think is what it is? And to be honest, Byron has been a really great business partner from day one. It's like I think I got most of my ways, and that makes it a lot easier for me, lah. Yeah, but subsequently, I'm also then from that point onwards, it's also easy to understand what Byron is actually also pursuing. Yeah, and then it's then easier for me to get into the same frame of mind as what he's on. Yeah, and then that really with the time goals, it's so much easier to work out the thing. And I think our partnership couldn't have come at a better time, right? Because a lot of people always ask, hey, when did you guys started this? And we say, oh, we actually came together starting in January in 2020, right before the pandemic. And then people will be like asking, right before the pandemic, wouldn't that be in a very bad time? Like you come together and then, the worst situation would be me and Byron would just say, bro, I don't think I can do this with you. Now we are for fighting for our own survival. Like you go and do your things, I go do my things. Yeah, but we didn't, there was not even a slight discussion of the two of us saying like, let's not partner each other anymore. Yeah, it was more like, hey, bro, let's do this together, right? Don't care. Like we just need to fight this through, and we are just so confident that by having the two of us together, it was so much easier to work out a lot more ideas, a lot more concept and execution and executing all of this. Yeah, so I'm really appreciative of the fact that the two of us managed to come together right before the pandemic, and this pandemic just goes to show that even competitors can actually come together and then build that so much stronger partnership even in time of adversity. Yeah.
So, with the Singapore Rediscovers vouchers, they will be expiring in June soon. What new innovations can we expect to see from Monster Day Tours? Will your virtual tours be expanding even more? You hinted a bit about that just now.
Yeah, I think virtual tours, definitely. I think we are going very big on that kind of venues that we will be doing, the kind of contents that we'll be offering. We want to work with very like-minded and passionate partners as well. Yeah, to really create contents that, it's almost impossible without the help of these partners. And we are also going a lot more into more like world issues, put it this way, things like sustainability, things like inclusivity. I think we are going towards the angle that we want to do tours that matters. That means if there's a certain message that we want to bring to people, we want to do that. And that's the educational aspect that Byron's keep sharing about. So sometimes education can be very dry. When we talk about doing history, doing maths, doing sciences, and it's just so boring sometimes reading all this from the textbook. But if you can actually do a physical tour and a virtual tour with very interactive elements, then everything will just become like the world is still that fun learning space that everyone can go to. And I think this is really the true value of when we put Monster Day Tour and Lion Heartlanders together. Yeah, so that would be our path. At least moving forward, I don't think this goal and mission of ours will change. Yeah, it is really to what extent can we actually do this and emphasize on it.
So sounds like there's no such thing as uncharted territory or fear of uncharted territory for you.
Yeah.
After COVID, there's nothing we are afraid of really, I think.
Yeah, really.
A trial by fire. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you again, TY and Byron, for joining us for this session. And to our viewers, if you have an innovator in mind that you would like to see us feature on TTG Conversations Innovator Chat, please let us know. Thank you for tuning in and have a nice day.